Arsonists continue to set trucks alight in 3 provinces. It all started with 6 trucks torched on Van Reenen's Pass in KwaZulu-Natal at the weekend. And since then, at least 14 more have been set on fire in KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga and the Limpopo provinces. Now, for a closer look at the possible causes and what can be done to secure the industry, we're now joined, of course, by crime expert Chris de Kock, of course, regarding this matter. And Chris, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Quite concerning, but I just wonder, when you saw these events taking place, was this all too familiar in terms of the modus operandi and the trend that we're seeing at where these trucks are being set alight, how they're being targeted, and what could possibly be the motive?
Yeah, it's difficult to say if it's the same modus operandi because you know, previously trucks were not stopped in the same way. A car standing along the road, stopping a truck, and then they take the driver out and then they set it alight. I mean, there were other modus operandis used, but also, but it's very clear the motive here is to target the main routes to the harbors, to Richards Bay, to Durban, and so on. But we have seen this during the July 21 unrest, but we have also seen it previously. For many years now, this is a problem. For the last 10, 12 years, we had incidents like this.
If it's a recurring problem, it means that it's an issue that hasn't been resolved yet. Why do you think this is one matter or crime or criminal activity that the police and investigators just can't seem to nib in the bud?
It seems the major problem is that if I listened to the National Commissioner yesterday on a radio station, it seems there is no intelligence. There is literally no intelligence who is behind this. What groups are behind this, and enough intelligence to do arrest of these people. I mean, these people should be arrested. This is not only malicious damage to property, this is basically economic sabotage. But the fact of the matter is, it seems, if I listened correctly to the National Commissioner, that nobody knows what is happening here. And that is quite worrying, that we don't have intelligence.
Yeah. Definitely this has put to the forefront, Chris, you know, some of the weaknesses that we're seeing in our intelligence. I mean, to date, if we take it back to just a year ago, you mentioned the July unrest, still no convictions as to the masterminds behind what the whole world witnessed happening in South Africa, at least parts of KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. Significantly, still no intelligence to lead us to who are these masterminds. Is it a syndicate? You know, what exactly was the commercial benefit here? Because there was economic sabotage in the process. Chris, is it a matter of a skills deficit in the part of the SAPS and law enforcement? Hence, nobody knows who is responsible and what can be done to prevent such criminal activity?
Well, look, there's a growth of organized crime in general, in all spheres of our society, actually in all industries. We see that there's a growth in organized crime. Now, the only countermeasure to organized crime like this in the trucking industry is intelligence. So there must definitely be an improvement in intelligence. I don't know what is wrong there. I don't know the facts there inside intelligence, but that have to be restored. And then also, I mean, we now know that this morning, trucks were burned between Ermelo and Piet Retief, another 4 trucks. Now, if this thing is happening every night since Sunday, then they will have to increase visibility on these routes, police visibility, so that they can get hold of these culprits and do what they should do. Also, if the police have not the numbers to get high visibility on these routes, then maybe some elements of the defense force should be put on these routes, because these routes are vital for the economy of South Africa.
I can agree with you more. When you look at the, N3, Van Reenen's Pass, the N2, look at parts of the Limpopo provinces, you could definitely see these routes being significant in terms of our economy. The cargo on these trucks as well, Chris, obviously of commercial value. We had spoken earlier on to Gavin Kelly, the CEO and chairperson of the Freight Rail Association. Let's just listen into what he had to say in terms of these recent events.
It's pretty clear the ATDFs of SA has said that they're taking the fight back to the roads, because the task team that was created about 18 months ago, probably almost 2 years now, has not achieved what it was supposed to achieve. There are a number of issues that it needed to address. Progress has been painfully slow, and they want their supporters, or their members, if you want to use that term, but those who support them, to be employed. This is all about employment. It's about getting foreign individuals who, to their mind, are taking their jobs and are being employed out of the country, getting their members back into the seats. No one wants to listen to them, is their rhetoric or narrative. So let's go to the streets and start burning trucks again.
And that's Gavin Kelly of the Freight Rail Association, making quite, a statement there, Chris, with regards to what he attributes these recent attacks to, saying we have seen the protests with regards to, some drivers or groups lamenting foreign nationals working as drivers in this industry. And I just wonder if you agree with the sentiments that could possibly be behind these attacks we're seeing on trucks.
Yeah, well, it was in the past. In the past, there were trucks burned as a result of this idea that foreigners should not be employed as drivers. But it can also be a competition between, organized crime is rife everywhere. So we get the building mafia, but we also get these same types in the transport industry who want to have more control over certain routes, and then there may even be a political motive. But I think in this case, it seems the movement to get rid of foreign drivers is actually the ones that are doing this. But this is strange that for 10 years we have this phenomena, and at this stage we don't know the people, the faces behind this type of thing.
Do you think we'll ever get to know them? We know we're expecting a media briefing from 12 o'clock today in terms of just updates on these recent attacks. The President Cyril Ramaphosa, also assigning a special task team to investigate these recent trucks attacks, because I'm sure he recognizes the economic sabotage and its implications on our country. But do you think we'll ever get to a point where we see these faces, know their names, and get to put a stop to this organized crime?
Yeah, well, in the past, many years ago, and between 2003 and 2012, the crime intelligence, for example, and the national intelligence actually took down many of these syndicates, not only in the trucking industry, I'm talking in general, crime in general. Right. I mean, there was a major success against CIT robberies. And the reason for that was intelligence, focus intelligence, infiltration of syndicates, and then take down operations. And we saw the faces. We must go back to that. I mean, that is the way you fight crime successfully. If you can't do that, we will see this phenomena just growing over and over again.
Yeah, because obviously if perpetrators realize that there isn't forward planning, if there isn't intelligence, if there aren't convictions, if there aren't any arrests, there are no consequences in general, Chris. That is just pure motivation to keep going and getting smarter with how they also implement this crime. But perhaps for a moment there, if we can, and if you're able to share with me, Chris, let's get into the mind of the perpetrator here and perhaps why they could could be doing this and also doing it this way. What is the benefit here for those who conduct these crimes? Why do they opt to set alight if they're merely there just to rob a truck? Why not take goods and not put the life of the driver in danger and other motorists? If you're able to share with us, why this happens psychologically, I suppose, if that's the word. Chris, why do you think the perpetrators choose this route?
Well, I think the motive behind this is money. The people who are doing this, who are stopping the trucks, who set the trucks alight, and all of this activity, it's not the planners. The planners won't do it themselves. They will get a heat squad or a group of people who have done this in the past and who's prepared to do it again for a price. I mean, they get paid because they don't get anything just of burning trucks. I mean, that is not, you won't get anything. And they are driving around and do this kind of thing. So this is people who know how to do it and have done it in the past, and they get paid for doing this. This is how it operates.
Chris, we'll have to leave it there, and I appreciate you speaking to me about this. Thank you so much for your time. Quite concerning indeed to see this trend ongoing at the moment in the country. Parts of Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal and the Limpopo provinces all witnessing trucks being burned, set alight, drivers being robbed, no arrests being made so far. But as Chris has mentioned, it seems to have been a phenomenon in the country dating years ago. But the question is, where is the crime intelligence in terms of dealing this? Why haven't they intercepted into these syndicates, crack down the motive and the modus operandi? Obviously, we know that money being one of them, or perhaps even competition, or maybe some saying that the appointment and recruitment of foreign nationals as workers and drivers in this industry being quite problematic. But at the end of the day, it's law enforcement that is meant to nip this in the bud and stop this crime altogether. We'll continue, of course, exploring all these different aspects of why trucks are being burned, and hopefully get also word and response from the presidency, because we know President Cyril Ramaphosa has now assigned a team to specifically investigate on the torching of trucks in the country, causing very much damage to our economy. More of this